So Quizlet is an excellent tool that you can use for retrieval practice in your classroom. Essentially, it's a digital flashcard system and you can use it on your desktop, it's a website form, or you can use the app or website on your iPad. At the moment, I'm using my iPad and the website. Now, when I'm on the site, one of the first things I can do is I can search the community for question banks that I can use without having to start from scratch. One of the main features that makes it an excellent tool for retrieval practice in your classroom is it's really simple to find these sets that other people have made. For example, I can just go to the search bar at the top and I might want to search for fractions if I'm doing a maths lesson, for example. When I search for this, it's going to bring me up a mixture of study sets, textbooks, questions, users, etc. I'm really interested in the study sets, so I'm going to tap that option. And then what I can do is I can preview different people's study sets by looking down the left-hand side. Now let's say I find one that I like, I can tap into that and I can use this live with my class right away. So by using the classic live feature at the top left-hand side or by using the checkpoint feature. If I want to make edits, so maybe I'm looking at this and I do quite like it, there's a few bits of wording that I might want to change, maybe I want to add some extra questions into it, but it's a good baseline to start with. All I need to do is scroll down and find just here beside the plus button the two pieces of paper. If I tap that, that is going to duplicate it into my own study set section. And what I can do now is I can edit all of this. So I can edit the title, I can edit the description, I can go down and change the pictures, I can change the terms, and I can also add more questions at the bottom and then tap create when I'm ready to make that set of flashcards. So this is a really, really nice way to lower my workload and make sure that I can find some good baseline ones to start with, and then I can edit those questions on top. However, if I did want to start from scratch, then that's really easy to do as well, and you can share them amongst your pupils or with your department too. And to do this, I just need to tap the create button at the top, and I want to tap study set. Once I'm in here, I can name my study set and I can give it a description. And then below, down here, I then put in the term on the left-hand side and the definition on the right. I can drag these to move them up and down. I can add images as well. For this one, I've added the term ribosome, but I still need to put in a definition. And what's quite nice about Quizlet is they'll give you some examples of what you could put for a definition as a result of the term that you put in. So this can save you time. For example, I've put in ribosome and the SQA definition at National 5 is site of protein synthesis, and it's given me that option here. So I just tap that to input it, and I can change things like the language, or I can add some voice recording over the top, or I can even change the colour of the writing or make it bold, italics, underlined. So there's lots of different things you can do with your cards as you add them. Something you might want to consider here as well is that you don't actually need to type all of your questions from scratch. If you already have a Word document or an Excel document or a Google Doc that has questions in it and answers, you can tap the import from Word or Excel or Google Docs button, and all you need to do is you need to just copy and paste that information in, and then tap import, and that'll basically import all the questions for you, and then you can edit from there. Now, something to really consider here is pupils can make their own questions, they can make their own flashcard sets, but should they make their own questions or should they use yours? Own questions require a lot of effort from the pupils, it takes them a lot of time to make them, and often their questions are inferior as they don't understand question design properly or how to word them correctly with the correct kind of wording to them. Now, they also should be making them from the start of the year if they're going to use this method. They should not be making them near prelims or exams like most pupils do, as that is when they should be practicing retrieval, not creating those revision resources from scratch. Now, something I can also do is I can share these with other people in my department. So for example, if I view all the sets that I've got at the moment, we have quite a lot of study sets here, and we actually have them for, if I look at the folders, for each of our subjects and our levels within our department. Now, I can share these with classes. If I want to create classes, I can set them up on here, and that means I can track their progress as well. But I don't have to do that. I can just make sets and use them whenever I'd like to in a more flexible way. Something else that you can do as well is you can share these with pupils, which I'll show you in a wee second, but something just to point out now as well is if you share them with your department, not only does that decrease workload for everyone to the point where you no longer need to make new sets, all you have to do is then edit old ones if definitions change or the SQA kind of alters anything in the course spec, for example. So the way to share with pupils, so let's say that I am doing National 5 Unit 3 and I'm using the full set with my class, which is here. I can share this with pupils in lots of different ways. As I said, I can do it live if I want to, or they can search for the sets if they know my name. So Biology LHS 1, they can search for that, and they can actually download those sets offline to use. So that's something that's really, really good. Basically, pupils can access these on the move from their phones or their iPads at any time, any place, unlike some other quizzing methods. The second other issue to kind of think about here is the fact that studies show that flashcards are more effective when the answer is read out loud or written down. I don't know about you, but I hardly ever see pupils do this. I find they just read it, think I know the answer to that, and then jump straight to reading them back, and that isn't effective and won't really help. So this is something to kind of go through with your pupils as well as how to use the flashcards. If I want to share it, I tap the share button down here, and I can share it straight to Google Classroom or Teams. I can share it via email. I can just copy the link and make a QR code out of that. Or, as I said, you can just put it up on the board, the live example. Now, Quizlet isn't just flashcards, so if you do go onto a set, you can tap the name, and so this one, niche, and it'll give me the definition of it. It'll also read this out to me, but if I tap the button at the top left with the sound and be speaker, what I can also do is then fire through my 60 flashcards, and I can just use those like normal flashcards to practice. However, Quizlet has quite a lot of other features that you can use as well. So they can use that flashcard feature, or they can use things like the matching game as well. So the matching game is quite good. If I tap into this, basically you're trying to make everything disappear, so dragging corresponding items onto each other. So for example here, I'm going to say prey is an animal which is hunted by killed by predators. That's correct. I'm going to drag that here, that here. There we go. And it times me, and what it does is it basically adds us to a leaderboard, and pupils quite enjoy that. They can just do it in their own pace, at their own time, and they get quite competitive about it as well. I'm going to back out of this for now. So they can use the matching, they can use the flashcards. If they have Quizlet Plus, they can use the test and the learning features. But something you can do as a class is you can play Quizlet live. So by tapping into Classic Live, I can decide if I want my class in front of me to do this as individuals on their own devices, or whether they want to play as part of teams. The teams one's quite good. It randomly places them into teams of certain sizes. And with that one, what happens is all of the pupils have to have their device or their iPad with them. They have to move into those teams, and then what they do is the answer will only be on one of their iPads each time. So they have to make sure that they're working together and they're actually showing each other and they're discussing it to get the right answers. What they do with both of these modes is they work through the flashcards, usually around 12 of them, and if they get the answer wrong, they go back to 0, and it's the first group or person to reach 12 correct in a row that wins. It's really, really competitive, it's really fun, pupils love it. And what you can also do is you can switch around whether the game gives them the definition and they've got to give the term, which is a little bit easier, or whether you want the system to give them the term and they have to give the definition. I'm going to play this, but start playing the music, which is done here. And what you have is two options for pupils to join. They can either scan the QR code, you can send the game link to them by copying the game link at the bottom and posting it on Classroom or Teams, or they can just go to quizlet.live and type in the code. They put their own name, but you can kick people off if they've not put the right name, and once everyone's on, then you can click Create Game. You've also got the option to then swap from teams to individual or back if you want to as well. So that's the classic mode, which is really, really useful as well. So there's lots of different ways that Quizlet can be used. It's a really excellent digital tool that can be used to embed retrieval practice in your classroom, whether that's live, whether it's as homework or revision exercises for pupils. I hope you found it useful.